Welcome, everyone, to day 2 of Comic-Con from home. Hopefully, you were all able to get in line, to get in, get your wristbands, get your autographs, get your exclusives, get anything you wanted to see done yesterday. A terrible joke, I know. It sucks. We're all stuck at home. But hey, we're all in this together, right? You see that everywhere. We're all in this together. Hashtag we're all in this together. Well, we're in Comic-Con together. So today we have a full schedule of panels for you right here on the podcast. So we're about to kick it off here in just a moment with the Marvel's Comics presents the next big thing. So we're going to be checking that out. We've got on tap today. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, so on tap today we're going to do the Walking Dead panel. We're going to do Fear the Walking Dead. Going to find out a little bit more about Walking Dead Beyond. We're going to do At Home with Robert Kirkman and so much more. And we never know what guests are going to stop by. If you're familiar with our show and our podcast, any one of our hosts could stop by at any time. Any one of the hosts from any of the shows that we work with could stop by at any time. So we're going to have a great time hanging out today. We're going to joke. We're going to laugh. We're going to have a good time watching some of these panels. So without further ado, I'm just waiting for this Marvel, the next big thing in comics panel to kick off. And we'll take you there as soon as it does. Hope everyone's having a good Friday morning or afternoon wherever you are, depending on where you are in the world, or even evening or even Saturday. Who knows? Depending, like I said, depending on where you are. But I hope as a community and people that are in this culture together, we're coming together and having a good time, at least a little bit of a good time at Comic-Con from home, watching some of these panels. So just a few more minutes before this this Friday morning Marvel Comics Next Big Thing panel starts. Guys in the chat, why don't you tell me anything cool that you saw yesterday in the panels? Did any of you guys see that New Mutants panel yesterday? See that New Mutants trailer? That trailer was sick if you didn't. I was very skeptical about the movie, but after seeing the trailer, it makes me want to see the movie so much more. The Bill and Ted trailer, Bill and Ted Face the Music, that trailer was good too. Super excited for that movie. Super excited that they decided to have it come to VOD, since we don't know what's going on with the world and when they're going to do movies again or open theaters. So yeah. Why isn't this bringing me to the link? There we go. All right. So it looks like that Marvel Comics Next Big Thing in Comics panel is ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and pipe that in, and we'll get our Friday Comic-Con kicked off right. What do you guys say? Let's do it, huh? Bring it in now. All right, here we go. Marvel Comics Next Big Thing panel.
Hello, Mighty Marvelites. I'm CB Cebulski, your editor-in-chief, and thank you for joining us at Virtual San Diego. Now, welcome to Hall M. This is the one-stop shop for all the greatest news about Marvel Comics. We're going to be running through everything that's going to be happening throughout this year. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to fight for a seat. All you got to do is sit down and listen. Now, to take us through this summer's big event, starring the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, editor Tom Brevoort is going to walk us through Empyre. Take it away, Tom.
Hello, quasi San Diego convention. I am Tom Brevoort, Marvel's executive editor. We are here for the Marvel Empyre portion of our Next Big Thing panel.
Why is this background blurred
joining
out?
me today on the left and right, theoretically, I can't see them because we're all remote, are the writers of Empyre. On one side, pick a side, is the author of Guardians of the Galaxy and The Immortal Hulk, and many other fine titles available at a comic shop near you, Mr. Al Ewing.
Hello, these are my real curtains.
And on the other side, somewhere, Mr. Dan Slott.
Oh, God.
Hello!
If Dan
Folks,
Slott is writing Empyre, it's going to tank.
When this airs, when this comes to
start
everybody,
strong,
people will have
crash.
seen the first 2 issues of Empyre. But just as a quickie introduction and setup, what can you tell folks about Empyre, what's going on, where we are?
It's the Kree, it's the Skrulls, it's the Katadi, as you have read by now, and it's Earth, and they're all coming together in a quite literal War of the Worlds. Except Mars isn't involved. We left them out.
War of the Moon.
War of the Moon, yes. Yeah, no, this is the Kree and the Skrulls have come together at last after millennia of war.
And they're now flying under one flag and one ruler.
Oh, yeah. That ruler would be Hulkling, the young Avenger, new Avenger, fan favorite. He's taken the destiny we always promised for him. He is leading both the Kree and the Skrulls. And the big question is he just a figurehead for like the powers that be, you know, just like a human flag to unite under? Or is he something more? Is he like a real king in waiting? And the people they're fighting against are the previously peaceful plant people, the Katadi, who used to share a planet with the Kree before the Kree massacred them. Not a bright spot in their history. And now they want payback. They've got violent. They've succumbed to some new violent thoughts, and they're taking it out on the entire galaxy. And Earth is right in the middle of it.
Dan, over in the Empyre Fantastic Four 0, we did the 2 zeros to lead into this. And in that 0, we introduced a couple of characters that are of import both to Empyre itself and to the Fantastic Four going forward. What can you tell me about who these people are and why they're so important?
By this point in time, you have met Joven and Nakala, who are the Kree Chronicle of Blood and the Skrull Requiem of the Shapeless Soul. These two beings are the living histories of the millennia of the Kree-Skrull conflict. And there is more to them than meets the eye, and they are going to be insanely important to the future of the Fantastic Four and to the Empyre.
I actually want to switch us off right now to talk for 2 seconds about some people who aren't here, but who are integral to everything we're doing at Empyre. So I want to give both of you the chance for the next couple of seconds to enthuse about the work that Valerio Schiti and Marte Gracia are doing in visualizing all of this stuff.
Valeria is amazing. Like every page of this,
that is nice art.
Landing in my inbox is like you know, a new delight. And some of the
any of you guys in the chat read the first 2 issues of Empyre?
I have not been easy on him.
What do you think of it so far?
I'll confess that right now. But some of the vistas and massive like crap action-packed shots and beautiful sweeping like settings, and then the other thing he does great is those tiny little moments of emotion. And there are quite a lot of those. There's a lot of emotional beats in there. There's a lot of like I mean, if I were to say which emotions, that'd be a spoiler. But we get a lot of them. We get most of them. I'd say we get like a decent collection of emotions, and of it, Valeria just everything that guy turns his hand to. He's the master.
He has redesigned the Katadi. He's designed whole new looks for the Kree and the Skrull Empire. He's designed spaceships, battlefields. You are throwing everything in the world at Valerio. You're throwing him Avengers and all the Fantastic Four and surprises.
Surprises.
This is everything you want out of a Marvel event.
Iron Man suits.
Did Dan Slott just have a stroke in the middle of that?
Have they seen that yet? Have they seen the...
No.
Because they're only after issue 2.
Or was it an orgasm? A nerdgasm.
Valerio is a fabulous designer, and he's done so many designs that we've actually been including them in the backs of all of the issues of Empyre as we've gone along. So people here will have seen the first 2 issues worth, but there's actually 4 more issues worth of designs and character interpretations and ships and equipment and everything. He really went to town in a big way on all of this.
And this is now the look for the Kree and the Skrull from now on. if of course they survive Empire. And don't forget about Marte.
Indeed. Marte, his colors, they kind of leap off the page. I mean, like I was saying, you've got these huge battles, everybody kind of expertly picked out. You've got in space, you've got when you're in space, so you get, beautiful sunsets, beautiful sort of interstellar vistas, and just brings it all out, brings it all to life in a way that, you look at the original art and it's fantastic, but that Marte just brings that extra dimension to it, that extra layer of beauty to it.
Yeah, they both have felt very engaged and involved in this story in particular. By a complete fluke, the first Marvel comic that Valerio ever read was the Fantastic Four annual that had Beldan and Raxor in it. Who have been big background players in the setup for Empire, and so to him, this is very
killed
much.
Them.
Yes.
I mean,
one of the other things we wanted to
just
touch
like you
on,
killed
just
comics, Dan
briefly,
Slott.
just to give a little tease, Al, is we have announced that we're doing the Immortal
You
She-Hulk.
killed Spider-Man.
As one of the Empire epilogues. So without giving anything away or so forth, clearly this is a place where it's an opportunity for you to bridge between what you've been doing in Immortal Hulk and what's been going on with Jen Walters in Avengers. But what can you say about this that won't reveal anything too hairily?
Well, as Immortal Hulk readers know, when we kind of intersect with the rest of the Marvel Universe and sort of touch on it, it's usually in the form of these big 30-page specials. So readers can sort of have a little something extra and sort of see how, the story we're telling in the main Hulk book intersects with the rest of the Marvel Universe. And this is one of those. This is basically how does all of the stuff we've been doing in Immortal Hulk, the nature of gamma radiation, the Green Door, all the stuff with the below place and the one below all. How does all that tie into Jennifer Walters? What's Jennifer Walters' experience of that? How does what she goes through in Empire? How does that tie in? And by the end of Empire, readers, maybe readers who haven't been picking up Immortal Hulk are going to have a few questions. Readers who have been picking up that book are going to have a few questions. This book is going to have the answers to the questions they will have. And I can't tell you what those questions will be yet.
Or the answers. But both the questions and the answers will be there. Dan, over in
these guys will be able to afford
FF
bigger
and your Zero book, you also
and better
introduced
internet
a new
budgets.
Elder of the Universe, who's kind of a pivotal
than what they've
character.
got for
What
this.
can you tell us? I mean, people will have already read the Zero at this point, but we're not done with the Profiteer just yet. What else can you tell us about how she fits into the scheme of things going forward?
The Profiteer only cares about one thing: making profit. She wants to, at the end of the game,
Gee, what a clever name.
to have the
The
most
Profiteer, and she only cares about
and
profit.
that is all she cares about. And her biggest meal ticket to date has been supplying the arms for both the Kree and the Skrull. So everything that happens in Empire is going to have a big effect on her, what she's up to, and we are going to see her in the Cosmic Book some more. By the very end of Fantastic Four Fallout, which will come at the end of Empire, you will also see major ramifications for the Fantastic Four, for the Marvel Cosmos, and for the Marvel Universe. The entire Marvel Universe. If you are in the Marvel Universe, you will be affected by Fantastic Four Fallout of Empire issue, because that's how big everything in Empire is. Oh my God!
I can back all that up.
All right, we've run through most of our time, but just for a last sort of summation, obviously people are now getting to experience the story. We're a little coming out a little later than we'd anticipated, thanks to all the stuff that's going on in the world. But as we move into the real heart and the spine of the story. What's your take? What do you hope people take from it and get out of it? How would you summarize the experience? All of that kind of jazz. What do you got for me?
I mean, I can tell you what I'm looking forward to most, both now and what I'll still be looking forward to when you're watching this, which is the reaction of readers to that shock ending we talked about at the end of issue 4, and the resolution of it. I am very, very much looking forward to the reaction of readers to that. And that's all I'll say about that.
Definitely.
This is about the FF. This is about the Avengers. And as much as the Kree-Skrull Empire is going to change, as much as the Marvel Cosmos is going to change, these characters are going to walk out with things are going to happen. You're going to want to follow.
Gee, I sure hope that in this comic event
want to miss this
that is being pushed
important.
everywhere,
this is like
things are going to happen.
When events mean something, stuff happens, things change, hearts and minds, empires.
Does this get you guys excited about Empire, chat? Are you guys excited or looking forward to Empire?
Teams, family.
It's a meal. It's a full meal.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yep.
All right.
All have glasses and beards. How did that happen?
Oh, okay. That I want to thank everybody for being here, for coming, for reading Empire, particularly under the slightly more difficult conditions that it is to do. Please stay safe. We want you to read Empire, but we want you to be healthy and hail as you go. Enjoy the rest of the virtual San Diego convention, and we'll see you in the pages of Marvel Comics every week. Goodbye.
Wow. Now, I've read all the issues of Empire already, but that got me so excited. So thank you, Tom, Dan, and Al, for walking us through Empire. The first 2 issues available in comic shops now. But as we've covered the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, there are lots of other teams in the Marvel Universe that we need to cover. So let's go to the world of the Merry Mutants with Jordan White, Teenie Howard, and Jerry Duggan, who are going to take us through this fall's big X-Men event, 10 of Swords.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan D. White. I am the senior editor in charge of X-Men over at Marvel, and with me are 2 amazing writers that I work with. First of all, Teenie Howard, who writes Excalibur.
Hello.
And also Jerry Duggan, who writes Marauders and Cable.
Hello, Comic-Con.
So thank you guys for being here.
Now,
both of you are working on 10 of Swords with me. Now, 10 of Swords is this massive, epic X-Men crossover that crosses over into every book that we're publishing in the X-Men line. And it comes out of this whole Dawn of X status quo with Krakoa that Jonathan Hickman has lovingly set up for us and that all of us have been running with for the past, oh gosh, not quite a year, but getting close to a year since he started. And it's a story that
fantastic
has grown
stuff
out of all of the
X-Men. If you're
track
not
he laid
checking
down,
out
and then all of the track that you guys have
Hickman's
laid down,
run on X-Men,
especially
it's good
Teenie,
stuff.
some of the stuff you've been setting up in Excalibur. So, Teenie, what can you tease for us about what's coming up in 10 of Swords, especially considering that some of it, like I said, grows straight out of Excalibur?
Sure, Jordan. Well, let's see. 10 of Swords is obviously really, really close to my heart. I've been working with Jonathan and Jordan really closely on making sure that everything that's coming out of it, everything that you guys are going to be experiencing as part of it is feels both really exciting and also like a natural extension of some of what we've seen in
comics are a fun stick. Boy 73, welcome back, dude. Says put a bowl on on the guy in the middle, and he's Dum Dum Dugan. Yep. Put a bowler. Yep. I agree.
All just like really.
He's a
natural storytelling stuff. Like Jonathan and I just kind of realized that we were both trying to tell similar stories about certain characters, and that we could bring them to a head together in this huge event that also just kind of is gonna blow the world of what mutants things have
That
been
hair curl looks like his
dealing
head was
with
a
so far
balloon
wide
that was
open.
blown up and tied off at
It's
the end. Like, I don't know.
absolutely weird. You
I
guys
can't
know
stop
like
looking
weird.
at it.
It
And I like
comes
how it's
out
like
of,
his
a lot
bangs.
of
Like,
my love
he's
for,
going bald, but he doesn't
a
want
lot
to
of
let
these
it
people
go, and
seeing
his
an
hairline's
Excalibur,
receding, so
the
he's just got that
idea
little
of,
patch of hair right there,
magic
and he's
not
got
just as a thing that lets
to
you
curl
fire
it.
out
It's like he hit that
fireballs or
little,
whatever.
he hit his
Magic
bangs with a
as the
curling
idea
iron
of
before
a
this.
cultural practice, and the idea of the ideas of like being a knight of something, being representative of something, you know, what it means to hold a sword and fight for something. That's all stuff that we're going to explore in Ten of Swords. It's going to be really exciting character work too for a lot of your favorite characters. They all have some fun stuff coming up.
So Ten of Swords, like we said, it's a crossover. So it's not the kind of event that a lot of times Marvel will do where there's a main book and then tie-in books. This is a story that goes into every title. So every part of it connects to.
So this is how they get you, and this is how they got you with House and Powers of X.
22 chapters.
There's
to this,
22
this
books
epic
to this story
so
that
Jerry,
you have to buy every individual issue to not miss anything going on.
Both of which are going to have issues of this. But how did you enjoy collaborating on this? Because again, it's not just you two and Jonathan, it's also a bunch of other writers who we've got working on this. Leah Williams, Vita Ayala, Ben Percy, Ed Brisson, Zeb Wells. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. Who am I leaving out?
Yeah, it's been so much fun. You know, we've been very collaborative. Writing comics is often a solitary effort, but that has not been the case so far on Krakoa. We have our private secret meeting rooms, and we have been consistently cooking up story threads for all these books to interweave. I think the charm of that of this for me is that I'm getting to work closely with Vita and Ben and everyone, and you're going to not just see some of the X-Men in new writers' hands, you're also going to see new names on books. I'm getting to co-write with Ben on on X-Force and Wolverine, and Ben's co-writing my Marauders issues, and Vita's got a standalone Marauders story. So we're definitely singing into the mics like the E Street Band on this one, and it's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I can't wait for people to see what actually happens. So it's called the Ten of Swords. Teeny, that name comes from tarot cards.
It does.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, I have to say, as a person that loves weird symbolism, I was just tickled by the way that Jonathan has leaned into the X of 10. And like really early on, I've talked about this before, that like the way I approached my work in Krakoa was less like, here's a book with a cool bunch of cool X-Men I want to write, and like, here's a part of mutant culture that I would like to shepherd. And I really, really early on attached to certain characters as part of that, who are now a big part of the story of Ten of Swords. So it's, I don't know, a lot of the work we do in X Rooms is like nothing I've ever done as a writer. It's really, really freeing, especially when you're working, on things, that are not your own characters and things that you have to shepherd and have fans and stuff. It's really, really freeing to get to just like sit around with the other X writers and, to have had this event that I'm doing with Jonathan not form out of like, what felt like, like mandates or assignments, and more of just kind of felt like Jonathan and I being like, so we both want to tell this same story, right? Like we're both working toward this same story, but just from different angles. And we kind of realized that Ten of Swords is where a lot of it was leading. If you know the tarot at all, you know that the Ten of Swords is the end of a suit, which means it's like all the suits. There's a journey, and the Suit of Swords, if you're a tarot reader, does not end. It's not end well.
To give them just the smallest bit of tease, what character has the best bit so far in this entire story? Who is your choice for best moment in the book so far?
As the person that has been writing Marauders, I'm very excited for this story because of Storm's part in it. finally, there's a super, super cool story that we've been dying to tell. When you see Russell Dauterman and Matt Wilson's cover for Marauders, you'll understand why I'm so excited about this story for Storm. We should show that cover. I'm going to show that.
Marauders is a fantastic X-Men
let's
book
do it.
if you're not reading that.
Look at they put the X of Swords logo
so
in the back.
sick.
That's the halo.
It's pretty amazing. Teeny, how about you?
We're all very excited
That's
for
such
the
a sick
story
cover.
that has developed for young Douglas Ramsey. He's look, there's a part of me that's like, Betsy, Apocalypse, because like I love writing them, and their stories are so important to me. And there are some characters that I don't even want to say that I'm excited to write because I don't want to spoil it, but I'll say this. The room has lit up every time we start talking about Doug's story in Ten of Swords. It can be the earliest, sleepiest, most worn out video call, and the second we start talking about the Doug story, everyone's like, and this happens. We all Cypher fans are gonna have a great time.
It's very true.
Agreed. If I had to pick, I mean, I probably would say I'm most excited about something with Captain Britain. So
that email you sent, we saw some good art the other night.
We did.
And he had
some nice stuff.
That's even better than I imagined it. Wow.
Terrific.
And you know what? Just another example of how X-Men are family books. This whole visual that Jordan and I are geeking out about that you'll see from an artist that I'm not sure if we can discuss yet. It came out of an idea that I was chewing on, and Leah Williams was like, it was just, I don't know what I'm doing here, and this and that and the other, and just chit-chatting, and she was like, what if we did it this way? And that's like so much of how our books get written. I think everyone in the X-Room at some point or another during the writing of Ten of Swords has reached out to me just to be like, hey, let's look at this moment where our books touch. Let's both look at it and make sure it works. Or this through line, I started in this chapter.
The moment when your books
in your chapter, and can you make sure that you set this up for me? And it's like, that's how these books have kind of been written for like the past year. But then Ten of Swords is like us
Two geeks
really
meet
just
in the
vamping
wild.
and showing you guys how
You're about
good
to
we've
witness the
gotten
moment
at writing
their
these
books
books as a
touch.
team. Like it's we've been practicing for a year to show you guys how good we've gotten at this.
I'm glad the writers all feel like we're on the shores of Krakoa singing Kumbaya. The artists are being asked to draw some almost impossible stuff that they are crushing. I sent Stefano Caselli the first pages of Marauders 15, and he didn't quit the book, and I'm so happy that he's going to draw these almost impossible pages. Phil Noto's been turning in just incredible.
Comics are fun. Stick Boy 73 says X-Cow ? I love it.
These guys
Just
are
write it.
doing that. When you see
Do
the
it. Let's
Russell
do it.
covers and the stuff that Pepe is doing, and RB now drawing Excalibur, everyone is hitting on all cylinders, and I know that this is going to land well with the fans. I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it.
All of the artists that you mentioned are doing great work right now. There's a few others that I should throw out the names of. We definitely have Mahmoud Esrar doing some amazing work on this series. We've got Matteo Loli doing some great work for us. We've got Carmen Carnero. We've got Victor Bogdanovich. We've got Josh Cassara. This is really some of the best artists that we've ever worked with, all coming together to tell one story. And it's going to be a top of the line package. Like, honestly, I think you're going to love it. So
the first 8 or so pages of Ten of Swords 2, we gave Pepe an insane challenge. You'll understand when you read it, but I mean, we just asked him to create us beautiful, massive things out of whole cloth. And I'm a person, I I love giving an artist a vibe. Like I don't usually give an artist a thing and say that's one. There's a reference photo of this one thing. I'll say like here's 10 things I was thinking about, and here's the playlist I was listening to. You know, I'm like I always tell artists, I'm like, they're ingredients, not prescriptions. Like, please, you know. And I feel like Pepe just took that and somehow was like, oh, like what was inside your head but better. Like, he absolutely, and it's just incredible. I mean, he has just birthed galaxies for us. I'm blown away. I'm speechless by what Pepe is doing on the main book right now. Getting to write some of my first pages in a Marvel event book and having them be those Pepe pages I'm okay with that.
Thank you so much for listening to us. Ten of Swords starts in September. It's going to be running 22 chapters all the way through the end of November. And like I said, check it out, pick it up. It's going to be a good
Comics
time
are fun. Stick Boy says, drawing from an idea is not easy. When they're not pre-established items and the characters you have to envision something
Jordan,
the
look,
writer is trying to
I know we're not in the offices and we're working virtually, but you got to start sending me those scripts. I'm in the loop, but even I didn't know the things you just talked about with Storm and Betsy. As one of the world's biggest X-Men fans, I need to know. So get them over here, buddy. Now, who's a big Spider-Man fan? Let's introduce Nick Lowe, editor of Amazing Spider-Man, who's going to walk us through issue 850 and the return of one of Peter's greatest arch rivals.
Spoiler alert, it's the Green Goblin. It's already been in the news.
Thank you so much, CB. Hello, San Diego. Hello, world. Welcome to Virtual Comic-Con and the Marvel panel. We are so excited to be here. We have such a treat for you Spider fans out there. Today, I am joined by two Spider legends. I am joined by Amazing Spider-Man writer Nick Spencer. Welcome, Nick.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And also joining us today, Marvel artistic legend Mark Bagley has returned to Amazing Spider-Man. Hello, Mark.
Oh, man.
Legendary. That's right, legendary.
So thank you all both for joining us today. Just in case anyone out there is crazy and isn't already reading Amazing Spider-Man, I wanted to give you a little setup of how things are going in Amazing Spider-Man. Basically, they aren't going.
I'm glad
well
Bagley's back, but I'm sad to see Otley not on the book anymore.
He's back together with Mary Jane Watson.
I liked Otley a lot.
He's back in school. He's a grad student at Empire State University. He's studying under Kurt Connors, aka the Lizard. The Lizard is his professor. He's rooming with one of his best friends, Randy Robertson, but also with supervillain Boomerang. What? It's true. And Randy and Pete aren't the only people who kind of hate Boomerang, but it's not for the same reason that he leaves all the dirty dishes in the sink. The Kingpin, who is the mayor of New York City, wants to kill the Boomerang, but he wants everyone's hands off of his roommate, Peter Parker. Now, why, you might ask? Well, it is because of someone named Kindred. Kindred is a mysterious new villain. He's got bandages all over his face. He's got centipedes that crawl all over him. And not much is known about this mysterious villain. That's all going to be changing very, very soon because he has big plans, and they all start with Sins Rising. Nick, can you tell us a bit about Sins Rising, where you came up with the idea and kind of what's in store for that?
Well, Sins Rising really does represent the escalation of the next part of our big Kindred story. And, Kindred has been lurking in the shadows and kind of plaguing Peter Parker's nightmares. And now he's, he's going to come to the surface. And this is the first part of his play. And it involves resurrecting one of my favorite Spider-Man villains from the classic Spectacular Spider-Man run, the Sin Eater. So the Sin Eater has returned. He has been changed. He has a whole new set of powers and revelations that we're going to be rolling out over this arc. And things are just going to get worse and worse for Spidey as the Sin Eater makes his presence felt in Peter's life.
And what you have happening there is just incredible. I mean, Sin Eater was already a huge looming figure in Peter's life, as he is the man who killed Jean DeWolf and set off one of the most classic Spider-Man stories. Mm-hmm. And so having him back and in this new terrifying way has just been incredible to read. And I can't wait for everyone out there to share it. But that's not the only rogue that you have on the horizon, because we're coming up on Amazing Spider-Man number 49, which is 49 of this volume. But if you count up all the issues of Amazing Spider-Man, it is also Amazing Spider-Man Legacy number 850. And we are going to pull out all the stops, including bringing one of Spider-Man's biggest villains back. Nick, can you tell us who it is? And Mark, don't be too afraid, okay? It's pretty scary. So be careful.
Yeah, it's the biggest villain of them all for Peter Parker, I think. The Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, will be coming back into Spidey's life with issue 850 and a little bit just before. So, you know, how that factors into the Sin Eater story, how that factors into the Kindred story, you're going to have to read to find out. But Norman Osborn is a major player in that story.
Yep. This is not a story to be trifled with. Both Sin's Rising, which puts Peter through a
I don't care what anyone says. I think Green Goblin and Norman Osborn is probably one of the best villains in comics next to the Joker.
And it all leads to number 850. Now, we are, like I said, we are joined by Mark Bagley, who's rejoined the Amazing Spider-Man team for the first time in a long time. So long. Was that the Cretaceous period that you last drew it, Mark? I can't remember.
I think the Neolithic period.
But Mark comes back for Amazing Spider-Man 45, and he dabbles with us during Sin's Rising, but he is one of the legends. He's joined by Ryan Otley and Humberto Ramos for the main story of 850. But Mark, what is it like to be back on Amazing Spider-Man?
Out of those three artists, I love Bagley. I love Otley. Yeah, I can't stand Ramos's art. It's
for me, it's exciting. I mean,
I don't know. It's too wonky to me.
You know, I'm really known for Amazing Spider-Man back in the 90s, and I did Ultimate Spider-Man. But it's really been 20 years since I drew Spider-Man regularly. And it's been 30 probably since I actually drew an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, because I am that old. And I really wanted to see how I could handle it, because back in the day, I've never felt like I lived up to, John Romita and Gil Kane and Ross Andrew and Steve Ditko. It was never my spot. It never felt like I was there.
That's crazy.
I wanted to see if 30 years later I really feel, because Ultimate Spider-Man, that felt like it was all mine anyway. But with this, I wanted to know if I was really there, if I was still relevant. And, I've been having a great time, and I think I'm drawing really well right now. So
you are drawing your butt off. There, like every page. I think Nick, you said it once. When Mark started turning pages in, I think you can you remember what it felt like to see Mark Bagley?
It's been one of the best thrills of my career, really.
That's great.
As somebody that was, reading those Amazing Spider-Man Mark Bagley drawn issues off the newsstand when they were coming out, to be collaborating with Mark on this is really just one of the biggest thrills and honors of my career. I'm over the moon about it.
Mark, have there been any particular challenges that you've hit when you've been drawing these issues? Any characters that have been like a surprise to you, as far as someone who was way more fun to draw than you thought would be, or something like that?
Challenges wise, is following Humberto Ramos and Otley. I mean, 850s, we split it up, and I've never seen Humberto's pencils before, and they're amazing. And his version of Norman Osborn and the Green Goblin is just insane. And I didn't really see it before I started
Bagley,
working on
okay.
my section. And once I saw his, I went, what crap? So I went back and actually, tweaked faces and worked on it some. I've never drawn the 616 Norman Osborn very much before. I did a mini series, I think, but he never showed up in my Amazing Spider-Man run all the 5 or 6 years I worked on it. So that was kind of fun.
But this, but for anyone out there who's a Norman Osborn fan, you've got to pick up this book, because the stuff that happens leading up to 850 and in 850 and beyond, you do not want to miss it. I don't want to spoil anything for you, because we got so many surprises, and I want you to have the best experience that you can have. But so you've got to start with Amazing Spider-Man 45 on sale soon, all the way through number 850, and then we start paving the way for something called Last Remains that we can't talk about it yet. We can't talk about it yet. But that is also bonkers, and there's so much great in store for Amazing Spider-Man fans. Gentlemen, anything else before we pass the baton to the next people?
I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that's been reading the book and enjoying the book. I mean, the response issue in, issue out to this has been so fantastic. And for me, look, I've always said the same thing. Writing Amazing Spider-Man is my dream job, and getting to do this every day for a living is just so great. So just, thank you all for giving me the chance to do it.
Spider-Man's always been my favorite character, and to be back on him and, thinking I'm doing a pretty good job on it, having that opportunity. I've been doing this a long time. It never gets old. I don't take it for granted for a second.
Jay Castro says, I'm still skeptical of the New Mutant Studio spins a good trailer, but out of trash all the time.
Just as like the ice.
I think.
So thank you.
I think they've had enough time with all the delays to go back to the well and really refine and tweak it as much as they need to.
Thank you both for joining us.
So
thank you, Comic-Con, people
hold
in
out
San Diego,
hope.
people all
Fingers
over
crossed.
the world watching this. Make mine Marvel, and I'm going to toss this over to some schlub is going to talk to you about some other book. So yeah, I guess go enjoy it. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nick. I don't know why you have to be rude, but enough of your spider nonsense. Let's talk about something.
He just booked it to the other room in his
terrifying.
house
This
to sit down
October, we have a
and
new comic
record this.
coming out called Werewolf by Night, written by Taboo of the Black Eyed Peas and Ben Jackendoff. In fact, we have Ben here right now to talk to you about it. Ben, welcome to Virtual San Diego Comic-Con. Tell me a bit about Werewolf by Night. What attracted you to this project, and kind of what makes Werewolf by Night as amazing as it is?
Yeah, I mean, what really brought us to this project was Red Wolf, actually. The history of Tab with Red Wolf and his love of Red Wolf was kind of how we found our ways with Werewolf by Night, because when we did the Marvel 1000,
don't worry about his house. He's just moving
summer,
in. He had to have time to just set up his
Wolf,
bookcase real quick.
One page, and then when we were asked to come in and work with this awesome character of Red Wolf, but bring him into the Werewolf by Night world and create this brand new character. I mean, we were so excited. We were like, wait, we get to make a new awesome Werewolf by Night and also have Red Wolf in it. And that was what really brought us to this project. And it was just, I mean, from there, it's been such a joy. It's been such an amazing project.
That's so incredible. And it's so much has to do with why this is such a quintessential Marvel comic, the personal connection, the world outside your window, finding ways to bring the superheroic together with just an everyday life of a person. And
life
there's
pharmaceuticals,
so much action in this book, and there's so much cool. Scott Eaton is drawing his butt off on this book.
He's amazing.
Yeah. Every Marvel hero is
Comics Are Fun says ASM 49 has so many variants.
Ben, can you tell us a little bit about the villains?
Every
in
Marvel
Werewolf by
book
Night?
has so many variants.
Yeah, I mean, in creating these villains, Tab and I have this thing of digital and analog. The idea of nature versus kind of the digital world and technology, and how so much of native, it's about being a custodian to nature. So in our kind of opposition to that was creating this villain, and is creating this villain that basically is the epitome of technology, kind of like this Tetsuo, the Iron Man inspiration, and the idea of creating these kind of cybernetic that are half-breed type creatures that are in direct opposition to Jake, who is a full werewolf that comes from the mysticism of Earth, like shamanism and, a lot of these kind of natural elements. And where, our villain, Dr. Eve Mikowski, who we'll get to know, is creating these cybernetic creatures, and she's on this path to trying to find the perfect evolution of what humanity will be. And without giving too much away of the story, that really is what we are looking at right now, especially, how do we live in balance with these new technologies that are being created just like this, where we can all be able to talk and, versus how do we stay in touch with nature, and how do we stay in touch with, what has made us organic beings. So it's the idea of the analog, digital, organic versus, digital creation.
That is so cool. I mean, this book, it is also one of the neatest things about this book as well, is that, like a lot of the best Marvel books, it has its own flavor. Like, there is some definite horror going on here. There is all kinds of body horror and just scariness. Wait a second. I'm getting word. It's true. We are now being joined by Werewolf by Night co-writer and international pop star Taboo.
Thank you, guys.
Taboo, so glad to have you. We were just talking about the horror elements of Werewolf by Night. Can you tell us why that was something that interested you?
I'm a big fan of horror films from the 80s and even 70s. So I've not only being a toy collector, not only being a comic book head, I've also loved like Clive Barker movies, and I've grown up with that style of entertainment. And it was cool to be able to do it at a level where it wasn't over the top, but still implementing.
Do you think Fergie shows up in this book?
Keeping it
or the
PG,
Black Eyed
because
Peas?
I wanted to make sure that my kids can read it and enjoy it, where it's not like too much cussing, too much craziness. Because I do have young kids, I want them to be inspired by the comic, but also like feel connected to it in a way, because it is the story of a lot of us kids who are urban natives that want to connect with their heritage. And a lot of times we're born in the city and we really don't know a lot about our native roots. And so with me, like learning through my
you think for an international pop star,
it really helped me.
And
so
or as he was called, an international music star,
scary werewolf bit,
he would be able to afford a better internet connection,
a learning experience about connecting
or
with your
like
native
at
roots
least
or your
move
Mexican
his
culture,
thumb away from his
and
phone.
making it inclusive for everyone, because this is not a Native American story. This is just happens to be that Jake is Native and Mexican, and it's a werewolf story. It's a coming of age story, because he's
if
a
you go
teenager,
to
and
the
like,
Comic-Con
we always call it the hormone
website,
monster, right?
you
Hormone
can
monster.
find all the links to the panels there, or if you go to their
really is what
YouTube
it's
page,
about. I mean, when you are a teenager, and
Comic-Con
all of a sudden
International
you have all
YouTube
these
page,
feelings and emotions that
it'll
you don't know what to do with.
be there. I can actually get it
It's
for you. Hold
all
on.
this energy that becomes the werewolf, and I think that's really what we've been playing with Jake, and it's this, how he's relating to himself and to Molly, his best friend, and his grandmother, and now all of a sudden the world that he's kind of pulling back, the world that he works in is he's a janitor in this large corporation, and what is it that lurks beneath the surface? And that's something we love to play with. We love to play with this duality of worlds.
Well, I think everyone is in for such a treat.
There you go.
Make sure you pick up Werewolf by Night, on sale this October, written by Taboo and Ben Jackendoff, drawn by Scott Eaton, Scott Hanna, and colors by Miroslav Merva. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everyone, at Virtual Comic-Con.
And check out the new album, Translation, Black Eyed Peas, out now. Black Eyed Peas Translation out now.
Make mine marble, and we'll see
Get
you
your
all
shameless
soon.
plug in there.
Fantastic Four, Avengers, Spider-Man, X-Men, Werewolf by Night. You just got the most incredible download on some of the greatest comics coming out for Marvel this fall. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Captain America 25, Fantastic Four Antithesis, Hulk Maestro. All kinds of goodies are going to be on shelves in your local comic stores soon. So get down and check it out. I really appreciate you joining us here in virtual San Diego. There is so much more coming. Be sure to check out all the other panels. Be sure to keep reading your favorite Marvel comics. And now, and as always, make mine Marvel. Thanks.
All right, so that was the Marvel Comics Next Big Thing panel. Look, if you're a Marvel fanboy, you know what these event books do, and you know how these event books work. And the fact that Dan Slott is writing on Empyre worries me, because his books start great and then fizzles out. So I don't have high hopes for Empyre. Yeah, can't talk. The comic book barbarian says that wasn't as big as I thought. Right, because they're going over Empyre, but like, I keep in mind that this was recorded probably on the 15th, so this was recorded days ago. And so they're talking about stuff that without pandemic, how much of it would we seen already, before Comic-Con hit? Or I don't know. I'm like I said, we've got the first two issues of Empyre. The Spider-Man stuff I'm excited for, because I'm excited to see how they bring back Norman Osborn. I'm excited for that Spider-Man stuff. Werewolf by Night, I could take or leave. I probably won't be jumping on that book. just because it's nothing I'm interested in. I think horror comics can be very hit or miss, especially in today's day and age, where I think horror is a genre that is vastly oversaturated and is hard to pull off, even in cinema, let alone comic books. But comic books are a lot of theater of the mind. It's how you interpret, it's how you read. And so it's very tricky, in my opinion, to pull off a horror comic book. So we'll see if that book can do it. But like I said, I think out of all that, I don't like the idea. Like, I like the whole Korean Skrull war in Empyre. I'm not a giant fan of the Hulkling stuff. Jay Castro says Empyre is good so far. Don't you say, dude, it's Dan Slott. Jay, out of everyone that I know and respect that reads comics, you should know this with Dan Slott. Look at everything he's done. Look at Spider-Verse. You know, it starts strong. It's like a roller coaster. Dan Slott's writing is like a roller coaster. You get up. It builds. You get to that that peak, and you stall. And it's like you go backwards back down because it fizzles out. It doesn't deliver. Very rarely does Dan Slott deliver on his epic tellings. Yes, I know Al Ewing is in it too, but dude, I've been burned by Dan Slott so many times with his run on Spider-Man and all the other crossover books he's done. Like, Superior Spider-Man was probably the best Dan Slott Spider-Man run he's done in a long time, if completely at all. And he even blew that up at the end with the way he brought back Peter Parker. So I'm not a big fan. I don't have high hopes for Empyre. I like the Amazing Spider-Man stuff. Like I said, I like the new writer for Spider-Man. I like Otley's art. I like Bagley. I love Bagley. He gave us Carnage, for God's sakes. I love Bagley. Not a big Ramos fan. I used to be, but I think his art style has become too wonky. Chase is glass half full. Glass half full, yes. Hold out hope that I might eat my words, and I might eat my words when it comes to Empyre, but I feel like these panels are lacking, and I wonder if, like, because they think that, like, everyone's in the moment at Comic-Con. When you're at San Diego and you're in the hall and you're in these panels, like, everything's building. The buzz just takes over to you. So everything sounds better when you're at Comic-Con. You know, everything sounds better when you're there. But when you're at home and you can sit there and watch and dissect and listen to this stuff, it's not as exciting. Like Combo Barbaria said, it's not as exciting as it all sounds. Like, if you listen to last night, Image did a kind of a similar panel with Donnie Cates talking about his new epic crossover event. And it was not epic to me. It didn't sound remotely interesting to me. And it's a comic book world come to life. So that story is about a comic book store owner where comic books come to life. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And he's teasing, they showed art, and it's teasing that you're going to get, you know, Superman and Captain America and Spider-Man and all these, Invincible and all these cool different characters in one world, from Marvel, DC, all over comics in one world. It should be grandiose, and it should sound fantastic, but it's the way they explained it that kind of left you like, what? What are they doing? What is this? I sat there for probably a good 45 minutes of this panel, which was like a 45-minute panel, so almost the entire panel going, what is this? Who is this directed to? Is this interesting to me? And there was just, I think, just the at home watching it virtually, it just doesn't have that hype. That hype isn't there. I don't know. And I think that's what it is with Empyre. I was not high on Empyre to begin with because, again, I think that Hulkling. I'm not a fan of Hulkling. I don't like this. I don't like the idea what's going on in Empyre. You know, I just don't know. I'm so invested in Spider-Man though. I'm love the way they're going with that. I'm interested to see how they bring back Norman Osborn. I'm interested to see what they do with it going forward. But other than that, like that's pretty much it. The X-Men stuff is fantastic as always. I'm excited for the X-Men stuff. I'm not excited for the way that they do their books where you have to buy all 20-some issues to get the full story. Because if you decide this week, I'm not going to buy this issue of Excalibur because I don't like this book, well, now you're missing a big chunk of the story. And I don't know. I just wish that's kind of where I've sit on both sides of the fence. I kind of like the way they do. Okay, well, here's your main story in the main books, and then it spins out. You get the bigger picture in these add-on books. But I don't like when you have to read every single issue of all these different books to get the full story. Because what if you don't subscribe to them? What if you don't like them? What if you don't, and then you're still kind of like, what's going on in this story? Because usually you find the characters where this story began, and it's just not enticing. Jake Asher says, yeah, live events have an energy you can't duplicate. Absolutely. But so we're getting ready for the Fear the Walking Dead panel coming up next. I know there's some people here for that. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. So as soon as that panel starts, we'll take you there. But again, if you guys in the chat, money grab, absolutely. Jay, absolutely. If you guys have been partaking in any of the other events or panels from this weekend so far, the 2 days of Comic-Con, I know it's technically day 3, but Wednesday they pushed as promo night, or preview night like they do at the convention, so we're not to count it, but so it's technically officially day 2 of Comic-Con, day 3 if you did the preview night stuff. What have you guys seen if you've been partaking in these virtual panels? Anything interesting? Any other panels that I might have missed that I should go back and watch? Anything you guys recommend? I know there was quite a lot of good stuff on Thursday, but yeah, you want me to link the live stream? It's gonna be on here. Yeah, I can do that. You want the live stream to Fear the Walking Dead? I got you. It's not live. It's not live. It's all of their stuff is pre-recorded. None of their stuff is live because they're afraid of you. They're afraid of backlash. They're afraid of backlash on all this stuff because, and I say that because everything's pre-recorded, and I guarantee they did it because of time and people's schedules. I get that, but also they've turned off comments, so you can't comment on the video. You can't do anything on these videos. So I think they expected a little bit of backlash from all this, and they just are weathering the storm by turning off comments. But I could be wrong. But it's just weird that you can't comment or talk in the chats or I don't know. That's why I like doing the live streams, because I can interact with you guys and we can talk about, other fans. We can talk about everything. Have a good time. Get your frustrations out or voice your opinions. We can talk about them. It's a good time. Well, right now Nightcloud is private because the way they do it is they pre-record it and then they set the times. So it's for it's all Pacific time. So it's 11:57 a.m. Fear the Walking Dead. So at noon, when the Walking Dead panel, Fear the Walking Dead panel starts, that video will go live. So you just gotta kind of refresh the page until noon when everything goes live. AMC is live. When does it begin? It's not live. It's pre-recorded. It's all pre-recorded. But it goes. The Fear the Walking Dead starts at 12. Then it goes into Walking Dead at 1. And then Walking Dead World Beyond at 2. So we're going to cover all of those right here. So if you want to hang out and talk in the chat, talk about Walking Dead, talk about any of the news, talk about the clip of the final episode of season 10 that we're supposed to get, that's been delayed twice now. We're going to do that here. Again, like I said, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. Did anybody pick up the Negan Lives issue, this comic book retailer variant Negan Lives issue that came out at the beginning of the month? Good read. I want more from Robert Kirkman. How do you guys feel about AMC's Fear the Walking Dead and the Walking Dead universe versus the source material for the comic? I mean, it's all here. We can talk about anything you guys want Walking Dead related and that panel. So just waiting for this panel to start, and I'll take you right to it. But if you guys want to just watch the panel without the commentary, it's I did click the link. I did supply the link in the chat, and I can do that again for you if you need. Oh yeah, I snatched up next week. I switched up 2 copies, man. I switched up 2 copies for myself. Nightclub says, I'm sad The Walking Dead doesn't get as much public recognition nowadays as it did back during season 3. It's because the show tanked. Like, I don't know, the show just fell off, and it's had a low fan base. And that's what I think is so funny is all these people say, oh, The Walking Dead's tanking, The Walking Dead's ratings are down, The Walking Dead ratings are down. But yeah, they're down, but that's still the most watched television show on cable television. So their ratings are super high normally anyway. So even if they're down a little bit, it's still not like there's not a fan base there. It's still like that the fans aren't out in force and proud and heard. So SS60 says, some think Negan is going to leave the show after season 10. I don't. But I think we're moving into a territory in the comic books. If you're a comic fan, we're moving into a territory where Negan isn't seen that often. So, all right. So here we go. We're going to get over to this panel as it's about to start. So without further ado, I'm going to get ready to bring you guys the Fear the Walking Dead Comic-Con at Home panel. Next what says, I can't wait to see Rick, I'll be honest, but it's been a while since Andy left. Fantastic quality upgrade once Angela took over. Absolutely. Once Angela Yang took over, the show went back up. It's that breath of fresh air we needed. I think Scott Gimple took the show in a terrible direction when he was running it, and his choice to kill Carl at the time the way he did was not a good one, and not one that the fans were pleased with. So, but I think Angela Yang has done a fantastic job, and I think Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride have done a fantastic job carrying the show since Andy left. But let's go ahead and get into this Fear the Walking Dead panel, and let's have a good time. I'm going to pause this real quick so I can wait till the stream comes back up, because I don't want you guys to miss anything. Savage Gaming, my issues with season 1 is that I thought it was boring and slow, and I didn't like that stupid like Oracle kid who because he was so woke and watched zombie movies, he knew exactly what was going on, because the Walking Dead world, you're not supposed to know about zombies and things like that. Like, this is all supposed to be new to you. And one of the things I think that hurt the first season of Fear the Walking Dead was that the fans knew more than the characters. So you felt like the characters were idiots because you as a fan knew more about the world than the characters did. And I personally found that kind of frustrating. So when they finally catch up and you're all on the same page, I think that's when the show became infinitely better. Moving forward, I agree that the showrunner change might have hurt it, and that there are some questionably questionable characters in that stuff, or in those, for continuing on seasons, but that to me is why I'm not a fan of season 1. I think season 1 and season 2 is questionable, but it's better than season 1, and then 3 on to me have been very entertaining, vastly much so. And I like the change in Alicia. Alicia is one of my favorite characters in the whole Walking Dead world because of how she grows, and you literally get to see everything get taken away from her boyfriend to her brother to her mom to her stepdad, or soon to be stepdad. You kind of get to see everything taken away from her instead of full of flashbacks like a lot of the Walking Dead characters that you meet. So let's go ahead and finish this out here.